I think it's a weird move for the Canucks, but honestly, like I think I would do it if I were Vancouver. Like they've got to kind of throw up some Hail Marys. Evander Kane traded to the Vancouver Canucks. A lot of Van happening there.
True.
Evander Kane.
All right, goes home. He is about to turn 34 in August. He has 1 year left on his deal at $5.125 million. Did not play last year in the regular season. Was good in the postseason. Showed himself to be a top 6 player and scorer until he got a little too Matthew Tkachuk obsessed and kind of lost his mind during the Cup final. But I'd say still definitely an effective player, but not as positive a commodity as I think people were saying he was in the last couple of weeks. And he gets traded essentially in a cap dump. The Oilers get a 4th round pick in Friday's draft, or this weekend's draft, I should say, from the Canucks. And that's that. Evander Kane is now home in Vancouver.
Yeah, and like good job by the Oilers dumping that cap hit, but like why did the Canucks do this trade? That's what I keep circling around in my mind. Like, yeah, the Vancouver Canucks could use some more good players, useful players. Evander Kane's probably a useful player. It's a nice story that he returns home, but he's 34 years old, didn't play a single regular season game last year. And most notably, the Vancouver Canucks had some real issues with their locker room last year. Well documented. Had to ship JT Miller out of town. And now you bring in Evander Kane, who has not a sterling reputation in terms of being a locker room guy.
Yeah, I agree with you that they just need, like, look at the Canucks situation offensively. They need good players. They need forwards. And they got one basically for free. But did they think JT Miller was such a bad guy that getting him out means they can now bring in players who do have a history of clashing with teammates? I think it's a weird move for the Canucks, but honestly, like I think I would do it if I were Vancouver. Like they've got to kind of throw up some Hail Marys. I don't know how motivated Kane's going to be at this point in his career, like knowing that his chance at getting a cup is over.
But he is in a contract year.
Exactly. The motivation would be to get himself traded again.
Yeah, get himself traded again, or even just get a new contract. Like, I understand that element of it, but there is risk. And I'm not saying that Evander Kane is like can't go to a new locker room and fit in and be fine. And I think that he was well liked in Edmonton, as far as we know. Respected, did not cause many problems, but also that was a very competitive team with leadership and like an element of stability. The Vancouver Canucks right now are kind of in this weird, ambiguous stage where we don't know what they are, what they're doing, where they're headed. We just know that they think they're going to lose Quinn Hughes in a year or two. What are they trying to achieve? And was this worth the risk that they're kind of inheriting with Evander Kane as a personality, but also like you traded a 4th round pick to take on that full salary without a sweetener. And I don't.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think this was going to need a sweetener, but I didn't think they were going to get much for him. Like when Mason Marchment got traded, a lot of like hockey insider types were saying, and I think that trade was like a 3rd and a 5th or something like that. And they were like, yeah, look for Evander Kane to get a similar return. And I was like, no. Like Kane obviously is.
Marchment has way more value.
Better, but Marchment is more of a sure thing. And I would just rather have him on my team. But the chat does make a good point that Kane will be on his best behavior. So like but is the power of the Canucks locker room so shitty that it's going to drag him into being Evander Kane? Because I do agree that he'll be on his best behavior, and he's been on better behavior recently. Yeah, he's going to go in and be like, okay, and then he's going to be in a room full of assholes, and whoops, there you go. From the Oilers' perspective, they get rid of his contract, get nothing really back, but they move $5.125 million out. They now have $17.07 million in cap space, without counting the looming derogatory Trent Frederick contract. That's going to leave them with about, let's say, $13.33 million. and then they'll move Victor Arvidsson. So they'll be back to having about, 17-ish, something like that. Have to sign Bouchard. That leaves them with something like $6-7 million. And
how much of a hike are you getting from Draisaitl?
What's that?
How much of a hike are you getting? Are you? Is this factoring in Draisaitl's current
I
deal?
love Pierre LeBrun. Stupid tweet from him that
What
he
do you
was
mean?
like, "Oh, well, like they're getting cap space, but if you go to any sort of cap thing, it's factoring in what they're like. It's factoring in. They're saying they have 17 million in cap space
with the Draisaitl bump?
It's for this season.
Okay.
So yeah, like you don't need to worry about that. With what everybody's current cap hit is, and Draisaitl's is $14 million. They start with 17, and then you go from there, add or subtract whatever is going to come from the contracts they're going to sign, including Trent Frederick. But basically, my quick math says they're going to have $6-7 million eventually after moving Arvidsson and signing Bouchard to figure out their UFAs, Connor Brown, Corey Perry, Kasperi Kapanen, figure out their goalie situation. They're going to upgrade from one of Stuart Skinner or Calvin Pickard. Bob said something recently about they're going to have a lot more cap space come July 1st. I'm assuming that factored in, like they're going to have a lot more once they move Evander Kane and once they do other things. But I think they're not in a horrible cap situation. I think that teams aren't going to be bending over backwards to help them, which is maybe why they didn't get anything for Evander Kane. But I think that they should be able to do what they want to do. I don't know if Corey Perry gets the $2.5 million per year that he's seeking from them, but I don't think they're in horrible shape. I should note, by the way, Ryan Rashog reported that Jeff Jackson and Stan Bowman are having face-to-face meetings with Judd Moldaver, Connor McDavid's agent, and that they're like doing broad discussions about the future of the team. So, fine move for the Oilers. People were acting like they were going to get more, so I guess I'm a smidge disappointed. But at the end of the day, I thought they were going to have to dump Evander Kane. They dumped Evander Kane.
Yeah.
And now they begin the rest of their lives.
Yeah, like if I have any concerns about the Oilers with regards to this trades, it's how they utilize the money. And
well, they've already you can't sign Trent Frederick again.
that's
double
very
jeopardy.
true. Yeah, I'm most of my questions involving this trade surround the Canucks, so that's a credit to the Oilers, I guess.
Yeah.
We all silly like the mayor.